Diplomacy is difficult. I'm here to talk about The Left Hand of Darkness, written by Ursula K. Le Guin, which is a book published in 1969 and an extraordinary feat in science fiction. And I would like to recommend, if you haven't read it, please read it. And would also like to know what your thoughts are, so please let me know. I will explain a little bit about the story and talk about some of the interesting things that I thought of as I was reading it at the end. So, Genli Ai is our diplomat. He is part of a coalition of humanoid planets called the Ecumen. He has been sent on a ship with 2-3 handfuls of people who are currently in stasis. He's the first person sent as a diplomat to the planet of Gethen, or Winter. Winter is a frozen polar planet. It is a frozen hellscape, as they say. And he has been in contact with the prime minister of one of two nations which are in conflict with each other. He has been in contact with Estraven, who is the prime minister, and seems to be going along with the ideas of Genli Ai, and seems to support the idea of joining Ecumen. However, the book starts on the day of Genli Ai seeing the king of Karhide, who tells Genli that he has been told by Estraven not to work with him. This sudden betrayal leads to a very tense face-to-face with the king, who ultimately says that Estraven has been banished, supposedly for mishandling a conflict on the border with Orgoreng, the other nation, which does not have a king, but a group of representatives leading them. If anybody tries to support Estraven, they will be severely punished, and as will Estraven. As it's warming up on Winter, on Gethen, Genli decides to travel through Karhide, where he will ultimately go to Orgoreng and see what he can do there. The king is, of course, very afraid of working with Genli and joining Ecumen. Genli, before he goes to Orgoreng, goes to a fastness, and this place is quite a religious place. This is a place where you can basically have your fortune told, and this is a really interesting place because ultimately you have to pay a huge sacrifice, offering, to have your fortune told, only to find out that you have the right answer to the wrong question. So he asks, will Winter join the Ecumen? And he's expecting an ambiguous answer, which is often what people get, despite having a technically correct answer to the wrong question. But he gets a straight shooter answer. Will this planet join Ecumen in the next 5 years? Yes. That's a bit ominous, despite being so straightforward. How? Why? What happens? How do we get there? What does it take to get there? Lots of questions come to mind, especially when we've already had a story of people, so we can understand how the fastness works and how this future prediction works. To our horror, our great horror, that maybe we don't actually want to know the future, or we're asking the wrong questions. Maybe all the questions about the future are the wrong questions. Anyway, he goes to Orgrimmar, meets with the leaders there, who have been working with Esterven. He, Genli delivers some sums to goods to Esterven. He's been asked to by a former partner, we'll say, and I should now explain exactly what I mean by that, because they are humanoid in a sense, however they do not have human characteristics. This alien species is quite different from humans in the fact that their bodies are basically neuter until the end of a cycle, where I believe it's every 26 days, correct me if I'm wrong, they will enter Kemer, which will change their bodies into male or female, and at that point they will procreate, find a partner, this kind of thing, and once they're out of it, they leave. Another element to this society that I forgot to mention is Shriftgrathor, which is sort of your social standing and social expectations, and you know, your behavior and your people's perception of you and this kind of thing. Both of these things Genli has no hope of ever understanding because he is a horrible misogynist. And also he's new to the planet, and it's foreign to him in some way. It's alien to him, dare I say. But Esterven has been working with the people in Orgrimmar, has his sums delivered to him, and tries to warn Genli, do not work with these people. They don't trust you. They're gonna betray you. It's not gonna go well. And so what happens? Genli does not believe him. He doesn't trust Esterven, who seems to be a backstabber and also quite feminine in his behavior, or their behavior, I should say, because that's just how he saw Esterven's actions when speaking to Ergevin. Egrevin? Forget how to say it. The king of Karhide. Everything he doesn't like is feminine. for some reason. Anyway, he's betrayed. Genli is betrayed, sent to a prison, and drugged and left to die, only for Esterven to save him, use all of his money and steal, which goes against his own morality, but he also steals. He does everything he can. They go on an 80-day trek through a truly frozen hellscape that nearly kills them both, which is a beautiful, amazing part of the book, where they start to really trust each other and almost understand each other, and form a really, really strong bond. And it's beautiful to see. It's powerful. I love that part so much. They make it to Karhide. They have to hide because Esterven, they can't reveal their identities, because anybody who helps Esterven in any way will be punished. They are ultimately betrayed. Esterven is killed. The return of Genli seems like a revival to many, and that ultimately leads to the collapse of... Oh, my cake is done. Leads to the collapse of Karhide's government as well as Orgrimmar's government. Karhide, what's left of Karhide, agrees to join Ecumen, followed shortly thereafter by Orgrimmar. And that's kind of how it ends. Now, of course, this book is famous for its exploration of gender and of empathy and of trying to understand the truly alien, and trying to understand a totally different culture. I feel that I think many people would agree, those who have read it, the culture is fully realized, or at least fully realized enough for you to feel like, yes, this feels different and yet so familiar, and it's making me, question how the world works, which is great. I suppose what is interesting about the explorations of gender, perhaps there is a bit of a limitation, but I would say there's not. As I mentioned, Genli is a misogynist extraordinaire. I will get to that point in a second. This alien species, because they go into camera, they become male or female. Definitely there's an exploration of fluidity of gender, and I suppose we could connect that to humanity in some ways. Of course, gender expression and gender ideology. Sorry. I would say that the exploration of gender in the book is quite interesting, perhaps a bit limited, although maybe not, because the main character, who we are perceiving everything through, is a misogynist extraordinaire, and that limits our understanding of this complex culture that we only basically get a